Hey guys, welcome back. So in this video we are fixing the John Deere 1360 mower, and unfortunately a bearing has failed. So how do I know the bearing has actually failed? Well, when I was cutting, the big plume of smoke at the back, which is a pretty good indication. I thought it was a burning belt originally. Checked the belts at the side, they were actually okay. When I went underneath, you can still see smoke coming out of this bearing here, and when you shake it, it actually wobbles a little bit. So I asked my two local contractors, thanks to Mikey Welch and to Pat Tobin, and they said basically it's a bit of a job. It is a pain in the arse to do, but there's a safety cover here at the top, up there somewhere. You take it off, then you can release a load of stuff inside of here, and eventually take the top out off, get to the bearing, replace the bearing, and then put it all back together again. So in this video obviously we are doing that. So Pat, if you're watching, Mikey, if you're watching, thanks for the info. Right, now let's get into the video. So this video we're going to take most of this apart and pull the bearing out. So the power comes from the tractor all the way down the different power shafts into the gearbox. The gearbox sends power then back for the conditioner mower at the back, and then power comes straight down through a shaft, through the top hat, into the bed, and then powers the bed going across. So this is the bearing that's failed. How do I know it's failed? Well, there was a big plume of smoke at the back, which meant there was something burning. And you can see now it's currently covered in a kind of a black oil. So that's the gearbox oil. So the gearbox oil is EP80W90. EP means, I don't know, high pressure or something, but it takes 2 liters. So yeah, there's definitely not 2 liters in it now anymore. So the power comes down from the gearbox, which is up above, comes down this way. So there's a power shaft or something inside of this. So we're going to open this off. So the first job is to take off this safety cover just here. So there's 2 bolts, one here, one further up there, and on the other side there is one I've just taken out just there, and the other one is just in there. So there's 4 bolts holding on this protective cap, so we're going to remove that first. Okay, now easy enough with all 4 bolts removed. This cover here can now come off. Oh, okay. So this is the donut that everyone was talking about. So it's a rubber donut. There's 3 bolts holding it on one way and 3 bolts holding it on the other way. And the donut kind of like takes the vibration of the rubber ring, takes the vibration out of it. So, I think we have to undo these first. These ones here. And then we'll undo all of this. So, talk to you in a bit. So after snapping one of the bolts, I heated the rest of them and got them off. So that's the 2 plates, so the 2 half moons technically off. Okay, and inside we have the same setup as this down there. So you can see there's 1 bolt there, 2, 3 over there. I think there's 3 then bolted straight down into the plate here as well. So there's 6 holding it on, but obviously there's a rubber bush in between. So I think what we're going to do is see if these will undo. If they won't, we're just going to cut them off and just replace them anyway, because we're not going to reuse them, and see how we get on from there. Okay, just for my own sanity, I decided to cut the bolts. So I have all 3 of them now cut. They're just barely just hanging on there, and all I have to do now is just turn the top nut and just break through the bit that's left over. So let's just break that off, and at least we'll have technically this then disconnected from the bush. Yeah, it's a lot of work. Okay, so the 3 bolts are pointing down. Have them cut off. There's 3 bolts down there that are going into the bed or into the bearing. They've been removed. They're 21 or 22 mil socket with an extension, a big long pry bar. You'll break them open, and they're not rusted because they go into a housing down here, so that thankfully the rust can't get at it. Then took a sledgehammer or the decent hammer, hit this piece here because this is splined. It can go up, and that'll give me enough room now. There we go, to get all of this out. Woohoo! Oh, there we go. Come on. So you can see it. I only removed the 3 bolts that are pointing straight down. That one is still stuck in it, but it's removed. And they come up nice and easy, because I don't think these ones are going to come out, because I say they're rusted with rust is solid, obviously, with rust. So there's no point even removing them. But these ones here, you can remove them, cut these ones, and it should come out. Again, this is just splined, so it will move up and down just a little bit. Right, let's see what's inside here. So as you can see, there is 6 bolts all the way around. So after loosening them, they were not easy to get out. I had to use the gas and actually redden them to get them to release. But yeah, you do this first. Now the moment of truth. I have a vice grip here, just locks it so like it makes it way easier to release. Ah, it's hot. Now we get a pry bar in here, get a good shove, off it comes. Now. And now it's off. Okay. So yeah, that's the bearing there. So I think the next thing we have to do is 4 bolts, 1, 2, and then 2 at the back. That's what it looks like inside. So 6 bolts hold it on. They're number 17, unless they're kind of rotten, and then they're kind of 16s. So now that's that part done. Now to work on these. But first we're going to check, is the bearing actually gone, or did I just do a load of work for nothing? Yeah, I think that bearing is definitely gone. So yeah, time to carry on. Okay, now with all of the 4 nuts removed from the 4 corners, now we remove the 2 nuts that are holding on the disc, or this half moon at the front. And now we're going to remove it first, and hopefully then they should come up. Okay, and gently just tapping it off. And it's off. Right, yeah, now I think that piece here now should come straight up. Okay, it's actually working. So using the nuts as a bit of a leverage, force it up, and it's coming up. There's the cogs underneath. Great. Okay, just have to put the hammer in on one side, just a bit of leverage, just to hold it up. And now I think it's ready to come out. Okay, now it's out. What I forgot to do was actually blow it out with an airline first to make sure there's no dirt, but I'll do that afterwards and make sure it's spotlessly clean. And this is what we came here for. So the bearing is somewhere underneath there. So we'll open it up and remove the bearing next. Now with a gentle heat from the oxyacetylene, we now have the nut off. Brilliant. Up comes that. And yeah, that bearing doesn't look good. Don't know what's hot now, what's not. Yeah, that plate is meant to come off. And I'll bring you over here. We should have more ball bearings than that. We're missing a few. Yeah, there's a few missing from here. So there's the problem. There's more of the bearing material. So I think what we'll do is probably try and separate the bearing and get a new bearing. Okay, wasn't expecting that. So I had the teeth grabbed with the vise, otherwise I wouldn't be able to turn the nut. So when I released the pressure, it fell straight down. So it looks like I don't have to release the bearing after all. I just have to release the outer race. So one less job to do. Brilliant. Okay, wait, no, never mind. So there is, oh, that's hot. There's one bearing there. And in this shaft, there's another bearing, and you can see the cage and everything is just destroyed. And there's more balls missing. So looks like we have 2 bearings and both of them are kaput. So let's remove the 2 bearings and plan on getting new bearings. Woohoo! So slowly, but we are making progress. Okay, so I have one of the 2 bearings now fully removed. There is a lip just inside there, so it's 105mm across, but it's not 105mm like that you tap. So there's a lip that's permanently there, so just don't hit it from there. So that's one bearing out, and still to get the other bearing out. So yeah, that's this housing now finished. It'll be washed and then ready for the new bearing. But if you are doing this yourself, just don't forget there is a permanent lip just there. So don't try and wallop that with a hammer or try to press that, because that doesn't press out. This is the bearing you're going to need, ×2. So I have the old bearing off, the new bearing back on so far. Now we're going to install this into the housing and then get ready to install the second bearing on top of that again. Okay, and that's now one bearing pressed in. Now time to get the next bearing and press it down into the housing. Okay, so by the looks of it, someone's after putting an oil seal in here with this ring attached to it. I'm not sure whether that's original or not, but that's the seal that came out of it. It is an oil seal as far as I can see. But if you look there at the side, it looks like there's loads of RTV glue trying to keep it in place. So obviously they were trying to stop the oil from coming up this way. So I don't think it's actually needed. Maybe for the older bearings that were open, but these are sealed bearings, and I think I'm not going to put it in. So I think I'm just going to do without it. And if the oil is coming up this way, it means the bottom bearing is damaged anyway, so I don't think it actually matters. So we're just going to run without that oil seal there, I think. Yeah. Okay, now that the hardest bit is done with the two bearings back reinstalled, next we put on the outer piece, then the inner shaft which the splines all match up to. Put it down. After that, big washer, and after that, the fine threaded nut goes on next. That goes on with a locking collar, and let's tighten it all up. The socket you'll need is a number 36. I have it from an inch drive back down to a ½ inch drive onto the impact gun, and it makes the world of difference. Booyah! But now we will torque it up with the breaker bar. Okay, and the next step was a new O-ring the whole way around, and the mating surface has been all cleaned. This part here underneath is splined, so to know which spline to put it in that is in the correct orientation, you have two big bolts here and only one here, so it's 2, 1, 2 at the back, 1 at the side. And if you have that in the right orientation, when you look across, they should all be like left, right, front to back, left, right, front to back, left, right. So you can turn them there, so you make sure they're all in line, or basically out of phase with each other, so they're all the opposite of each other all the way across. And then you know that this one is in the right place. So when you put on the big top hat, it'll also be like this one here, going this way. That's how you know they're in the right place, otherwise they'd end up hitting off each other. So that's how you do that part. Now using the 24mm socket, we bolted the 4 nuts down, while also keeping an eye on the O-ring that it doesn't get caught or end up into the sump. Next we put the rear skid back on. Okay guys, so the progress so far, we have the power shaft back installed, that's what I'm going to call it, back inside the top hat, and we have the lid back installed as well. All new nuts and bolts because it makes the job way easier. Now the last thing to do is put the cap back on that's over here. It's a square rectangle and it just protects everything, stops any grass getting wrapped up inside that power shaft. Now with the safety cover back on, I think that's now the project complete. So that's now the John Deere 1360 mower all back together again. If you like this type of content, give it a thumbs up, subscribe over there. And as always guys, thanks for watching, see you later.